Hey there, locum tenens physicians. I've been asked a question about why I chose to do locums. My name is Dr. William Cooper. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, veteran, author, entrepreneur, among many other things. The one thing that I really love doing is surgery, and I've done that for many years. Pretty extensive background in surgery. I went to the University of Missouri in Kansas City, 6-year medical schools. I've been a doctor for a long time, although I'm still young and sexy, if you want to call it that. But anyway, I had a really long career in academic medicine at Emory University in Atlanta, one of the greatest healthcare institutions in the country. Started a heart surgery program at WellStar Health Systems in Marietta, Georgia. Early on in that process, I got exposed to the business of healthcare. Building a heart surgery program from scratch was really very exciting. And when I got appointed to do that in 2003 and 4, and to go out to WellStar Health Systems, Kennesaw Hospital in Marietta, Georgia, in collaboration with Emory, that was really a big deal. But I'll be honest with you, I had no idea sometimes sitting around the table in meetings with CEOs and COOs and CFOs and all these people, what the hell they were talking about. So Google came along not too long after that. So I was able to Google a lot of stuff and really get a Google PhD in a number of functional areas. But that really stimulated my interest in the business of healthcare. And so I did that job for 16 years as medical director at WellStar of the cardiac program, a very successful program. And now is really just shooting to the stars with the new leadership and people that have come along since I left. I left in 2019. And so I went down the pathway of entrepreneurship. I knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I knew I needed to do something to continue to have some income though. So I started doing locums. And it really got me interested in really how this whole system worked. I was like, man, this is very interesting. I knew my value and my worth. And I've always been a risk taker. So I said, I'm going to go for it. I remember, however, rejecting the term locums initially because I was not one of those because there was a stigma attached to it from all I'd ever heard being in academia and all these high powered places operating and doing all these cases. Somebody does locums because they have nothing else better to do or they can't do anything else. And that's just not the case. So I won't ever forget my first assignment was at Macon Coliseum Hospital in Macon, Georgia, at that time owned by HCA, and walking into the ICU and one of the nurses, "Oh, you're the new locums." I said, "No, I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon." I was kind of rejecting that. After a while, I said, "That's silly. I'm here to play a role. I'm here to be a doctor, just like every other physician on the medical staff at this hospital." And so but it took me a while to kinda get over working behind the pearly gates, if you wanna call it that, at a big academic center at Emory and the big urban tertiary care center at WellStar. So I got over that very, very quickly, and I really found my place. I've gone back on the employee thing a couple times over the last 5 or 6 years. One, to help start a program at Reston Hospital Center up in Reston, Virginia. That was recently from 25 to early part of this year to help get them a solid foundation. I think they're on their way now. Wishing them all the best. And then for a short period of time during the COVID era, when COVID was still very uncertain about where it was going to go, from late 2020 into early 21, I went back on faculty at the University of Kansas. But I have found it to be very gratifying. Many of the frustrations and things that I had as a employed physician, I no longer have. I set my own schedule. I don't have to worry about somebody else to set the call schedule. I'm on call because I chose those dates to be on call. I know that my kids or my family or friends have this planned, and I just don't schedule the time there. Okay. I don't chase RVUs. That is pervasive. I think that's it. We'll talk about that in other videos, but I think that's really one of the biggest atrocities right now and how healthcare is being executed in this country. And I don't care what any physician says. If they're in an RVU model, somewhere in this country, and that's how they're paid, it influences their decision making. Argue with me if you want, but you'll be arguing with yourself because my opinion is not going to change. But I just found it very satisfying. I am not on that sort of, for lack of a better way to put it, balls to the wall grind. I still do a lot of surgery. I help a lot of programs. I do a lot of really good things in my travels. That's one thing, though. You got to get used to the travel. As a heart surgeon, you gotta get used to working in different environments. Heart surgeons come with a lot of expectations and a lot of requirements, and you gotta learn how to drive down the street in a Ford rather than a Mercedes every time you operate. But you also have to be open and honest enough to do it in a very safe environment or very safely. and be honest about, hey, look, I've gone into one program and had to say, hey, you probably shouldn't do this, or you probably should really rethink whether you should be doing heart surgery because you got a lot of things that are missing here. So that's kind of my why I do locums number one. I'll come back to you with some more juicy nuggets. If you want more information about locums and doing locum tenens, you can go to my website at locumtenensacademy.com. That's a more of an educational site where you can get a lot of information if you are thinking about doing this. Or Prime Health Professionals Network, primehealthpros.com. That's our website for our staffing. If you want to sign up, talk to me, talk to some of the people that I work with, some of the hospitals I work with, or join us. We do things a little bit differently, and I can talk to you about that a little bit more later. But just wanted to kind of give you that little intro, welcome you to Locum Tenens Physicians and some of the other exciting things that you'll be coming down the pipe very soon. I'm Dr. William Cooper, aka Dr. Cooper MD, cardiothoracic surgeon and lover of locum tenens. Love you, and I'll see you again soon.